Wish I was back in Texas. The cold's no place for this dough puncher. Said wish I was in Texas, prettiest place in the world. Oh no. I guess deep in my heart, I'll always be a Texas boy.
I'm Casey. I'm the Texas History Manager here at the Witte Museum, and today we're going to be making pan de campo, a flat bread. It's something that cowboys, chuck box cooks like yourself would have made in the 1800s. And so we have some flour here, and we are going to add some salt and some baking powder. So this is not a yeasted bread. So it's going to rise based on the amount of baking powder in here. And so I'm also going to add some vegetable shortening. Now, the people like Cowboy Jeremy would have used lard. I'm just going to use this pastry blender to mix in the shortening into the bread. Now, if you don't have a pastry blender, that is okay. You can use 2 forks or 2 knives, and you just want to what's called cut this in. And so you want it to kind of be a crumbly texture. They'll look like pea-sized, or sometimes if you work it in really well, it'll look a little bit like sand. And so this is the same technique that you would use to make biscuits as well. Now that I've cut the shortening in, I'm going to add some hot water, 3/4 of a cup. I'm actually not going to add it all in right away because, as we know here in San Antonio, it can be pretty humid, and so you may not need all of your water, and it's easier to add than subtract. You can see it's pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of that. Count 2 minutes. I'm going to knead all of this together. While I'm kneading, if you can tell us a little bit about what it was like making pan de campo when you were on the trail as a cowboy.
So Miss Casey's absolutely correct, you guys. When I was on the cattle drive, being the bean wrangler of the cattle drive, I had the most important job, being the cookie, making sure that everyone got fed on the cattle drive. We would make pan de campo bread, depending on what the cowboys or vaqueros would want on the cattle drive. I would also like to sometimes make cornbread, and I would say it's A1 if I do say so myself.
It's pretty good.
I would also make sometimes some biscuits as well too. Biscuits were something that we probably normally have for breakfast as well, just to eat along with that. But we have all those ingredients in the chuck box.
But you can see it's a nice texture now, and the cowboys would actually have used something called a Dutch oven to bake their bread, and they would have cooked it over an open campfire. Here in 2020, we are going to be using a pan. And so I'm just going to flatten this out into a circle. And one thing to make sure is that when you put it in a pan, I mean, you can do it on a baking sheet as well, but if you decide to cook it in a pan, you want to make sure that your pan does not have any kind of plastic handles, otherwise they will melt in the oven. So I've just spread this out. I'm going to let this rest for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to put it in a 350 degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes until golden brown.
My favorite part.
So what I have here is I have some pan de campo. Would you like a piece, Cowboy Jeremy?
Please, Miss Casey.
Sorry. Not only do I have some pan de campo, but I also have some homemade strawberry jam. And so I will give you a nice slice. And so as I said, it is a flat bread. If you'd like it to rise a little bit more and be a little more traditional, you can add more baking soda. But our recipe will be on wittemuseum.org. So make sure you check this out because it is delicious. And we'll be making more recipes like this at our summer camp, Cooking Up History and Preserving History this summer. Go.
Man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining us at Witte Where You Are. Have a great day, and we'll see you on another episode. And if you haven't checked out Cowboy Jeremy, on his episode, make sure you do.